This integrity is absolute concept, no doubt about it. It cannot be relative, because if it is relative, we are giving a pathway to corruption. If we say nation is independent, can nation be independent or self-managed unless the citizens there are so? We are talking about morality, we are talking about ethics, we are talking about self-reliance, we are talking about integrity. And when I ask you a question, either you don't think, that is another laziness, or when we think, we don't remember ourselves. And we celebrate 75th year of independence. So in my opinion, independence, it is vigilant, ethical, moral, integrated actions, including thoughts and feelings, leading to peace and excellence.
A very good morning. Respected to all the senior dignitaries, our CVO sir, Shri Sameer Rastogi ji, and to all the RCF employees who have participated today by joining in this online webinar, we would like to extend a very, very warm welcome for being a part of today's session, which is organized especially as part of the celebration of the Vigilance Awareness Week here at RCF. It inspires the system to implement the preventive measures effectively so that transparency and accountability can be maintained. With this note, on this occasion, we would like to request our CVO sir, Shri Sameer Rastogi ji, to kindly extend the word of advice.
It's my proud privilege to welcome Mr. Dhananjay Gokhale and my RCF colleagues on on the occasion of this webinar. As you all might recollect that India gained its independence 75 years ago, and we started on a path of development, and India wanted to become a superpower. But being a country of many religions, it is our endeavor that we not only we become a superpower, but we follow the path of self-righteousness. In this regard, our Honorable Prime Minister, while addressing the CBOs and the officers of CBI on 20th, has categorically stated that although India wants to be self-reliant, but we have a zero tolerance policy for corruption. In this regard, the Central Vigilance Commission is also very categorical in stating that although public service delivery has to be improved, yet we have to ensure that the last person of our country, the poor, are not deprived of the various services on account of corruption. Hence, it is our endeavor here in the Central Vigilance Commission and as a CVO here that we root out corruption in all its forms and stages. This is the vision of our country. This is the vision of our leaders, and we all should strive to achieve it. With these words, I would request Mr. Gokhale to kindly share his views on the very important issue that has been plaguing our country. And I hope, in fact, we all are looking forward to hearing Mr. Gokhale. We have heard about him so much, and I'm grateful to CMDC for inviting him. Thank you very much, Rupali.
Thank you, CVO sir. Just before I invite, as you've mentioned, to invite Mr. Gokhale, I would quickly run through his credentials. Dhananjay Gokhale sir, who is the faculty for today, will facilitate us on this topic today. He's basically working as a catalyst since last 21 years in the field of project management, leadership coaching. He's basically a project management professional. He's also a risk management professional. He's done his certification of MBTI app, Australian Psychologist Press accredited. He's received the Man of the Year award, 2012 award of ABI USA for his work in PM education. He's received the PMI 2013 Eric Janet PM Excellence Award, honoring the outstanding contributions and demonstrated leadership advancing project management practices. He's a founder and former president 2002 to 2008 of PMI India Chapter Pune, the winner of the Best Chapter in the World Chapter of the Year award. He's the author of 8 books, DG Conduct Certificate Course in Applying and Teaching Atharva Shishya and Bhagavad Gita. His international works include PM Enabling Services at NCS Singapore, Dubai, Civil Aviation Dubai, Silica Funds, Johannesburg, South Africa, Northwest Bank, Greece, Arab National Bank, Mitsubishi Elevator, Saudi Arabia, Cognitive Arts, Chicago, and there's a lot more which is already mentioned in the slide over here. So we are very eager to listen to you. He has an international exposure, and we once again welcome you to RCF, sir, and we look forward for hearing on this subject, and look forward for listening to your thoughts on this subject. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. The very topic attracted me so much. Morality, ethics, independent India. At 75 years. Akbar and Birbal, most of us are aware about it. Most of us. We never heard Birbal's resignation. So to maintain Birbal throughout in his service, definitely must be given to Akbar. So Akbar knew exactly how to maintain Birbal's curiosity, Birbal's integrity, Birbal's loyalty, and so on and so forth. So once upon a time, it so happened that Akbar had to go on the business tour. And Akbar loved pets, and he had a very favorite pet cat. And his tour was almost for 15 days. So he handed over the cat to his servant, and he said, look, take care of this cat. This is very favorite. This is pet. You must take care of it. And I'll be back in 15th days. And if something happens to this cat, I will not, you can expect the worst case in your life. So please do take care of this. And remember one thing, that every day in the morning and in the evening, you will send me the photograph of the cat. And this is how we will keep reporting each other. Servant said, yes, absolutely, I'll do that. And it so happened on the third day, some or the other incidents take place. The cat went to the roof and she falls and she dies. Not a good incident though. It was a shock to the servant. He didn't know what to do. But after a couple of minutes, he gathered himself and he ran to Birbal. He narrated entire incidents. He narrated the entire handover also. And he said, look, I'm totally frightened. I can actually see my death. Akbar has told me very categorically that I must take care of this cat. And today, cat is no more. Birbal says, fine, no issues. Be here. I'm having my tea. You also join me. Let's have a cup of tea. The servant went mad. He said, look, here I'm in total jeopardize with my life and you are offering me a tea. Birbal said, don't worry. Be stable. I'll tell you what to do. And then he asked his servant, what is the communication mode that you generally follow? Servant said, in the morning, one photograph and the evening photograph. So he asked, did you send morning photograph? Servant said, yes, I had sent across morning photograph. That time the cat was playing. And now there is a problem. He said, there is no problem, Birbal says. You send across the photograph in the evening also. Servant says, which photograph? The cat is dead. Birbal said, don't you feel cat can go to sleep little early today? So take a photograph and send it to Birbal. Send it to our master, Akbar, and tell him that cat today went to the sleep early. And then what is tomorrow? What is day after tomorrow? Birbal say, do it today. We'll discuss and I'll tell you what to do. The servant does it. Next morning, servant comes running again to Birbal. He said, what to do now? And Birbal gives him a complete timetable as to what kind of photograph he should send, what should be the position of the cat, and what should be the tagline. A general tagline that he suggested for next 2 to 3 days is, look, cat is missing you a lot, master. Cat is missing you a lot. Come early. Cat is nowadays observed that she sleeps a lot during the day. Nowadays, she has reduced her diet. And slowly, in next 3 to 4 days, one fine day, the servant was asked to write, she has stopped eating everything. And the next day, Birbal asked servant to say, send a message that she had almost stopped eating everything. The diet was zero. She was missing you a lot. And I'm really, really sad to tell you that she is no longer. Akbar returns little early. But when this news got broke, it was 11th day. Akbar comes back on 12th day. He approaches servant. He pats his back and says that, look, you really took good care of my cat. And I really appreciate. Good. The things happen. some things we can't change. And Akbar goes back. Servant comes to Birbal and he says, thank you so much. You actually saved my life. Next morning, Akbar calls Birbal, Akbar calls servant, and he offers a gift to servant. And servant says, no, master, I will not take the gift. It was my job. He was about to say something, but he keeps quiet. He looks at Birbal. Birbal simply smiles through his eyes. He didn't even change the frown. The incident is over. Now I have a question to you, all of you. Think, did Birbal demonstrate integrity with Akbar? Now remember, after this story, there will be only questions. The story started 3 minutes ago. I have been given 45 minutes, so I still have 41 minutes. In these 41 minutes, probably 20 minutes, I'll be asking questions. We must ask questions. So first question I am asking to you, not only to you, to me also. Did Birbal demonstrate integrity with Akbar? Think. Did Birbal behave ethically? Don't you feel Birbal did some corruption? It's my question to you. I have not reached to any conclusion. Neither I wish you to reach any conclusion. But fundamentally, be open and ask point blank question and try to give the answers within. Do you feel that Birbal behaved ethically, or do you feel that he behaved unethically? Did Birbal follow morality? You scribble your answers, no issues. You make your answers and sit with pen and paper. That is the habit that was congruent in me by my grandfather. He had pushed me a lot in my childhood, and he said, look, whenever you listen to someone, have a pen and paper. And I already have made some notes over here. So what do you think? Make a note. I'll wait for 30 seconds, no issues. My questions were simple. Did Birbal demonstrate integrity with Akbar? You can write yes, no, somewhat, whatever. Did Birbal behave ethically? And did Birbal follow morality? If you have noted your expressions, then let us go to the foundational fundamental basics. Now, the only reason that I told you the story is that if I would have narrated my own experience, or I would have asked your experience, then probably would not have been able to emotionally unattached. Because anytime when we want to learn certain things, if you are emotionally attached, if you are unwarrantedly involved, we become corrupted. We bring in our own biases. Neither Birbal exists now, nor Akbar exists now, nor we have any connections to Birbal and Akbar. So it increases the chance of our absolute, objective, unattached behavior and unattached observation. And therefore, I told you this particular story. Now let us go into the foundational part. Again, few questions. If we want to pass a sentence, or if you want to make a judgment, or if you want to express our opinion about Birbal's behavior connected to ethics, connected to moral, connected to integrity, connected to corruption or non-corruption, do we have the definitions of it? So let us think on it. I will ask you 3 questions. You work on any one of these questions. And trust me, not asking question to self, this itself is a beginning of corruption. Take it from me. How many of us ask questions? We end up asking questions to others. We conduct reviews, we conduct progress reviews, we conduct status reviews. Do we sit with ourselves and conduct the reviews of us? Hey, you thought in this particular manner in morning today. You expressed these opinion today morning. Do you know what exactly you expressed? You use some words today. You use adjectives, you use adverbs. Do you know the meaning of it? We talk about corruptions, we talk about unethics, we talk about immorality. Do we really know the meaning of it? If we know the meaning, can we measure it? Otherwise, how can we say that? We have to behave in an uncorrupt manner. What is corruption? What is morality? What is ethics? So these are the 3 questions that I would like to ask you. Think. I will wait for 45 seconds. I will wait for 50 seconds. And it's a humble request. Those people who really, really want to invest this 45 minutes, this is the investment that I would suggest. Later, you may throw off those particular paper. Make your notes. You can make your mental notes also. What is, in your opinion, morality? How would you define morality? Or you may write a question, answer of a question. What is ethics? What is your definition of ethics? Or what is integrity? What is your definition of integrity? I'll wait for 30 seconds. Think. Next time, I don't think you will invite me as a speaker because I ask questions. Right? So we are trying to evolve our answers of this particular questions, these nouns, these adjectives, which we use day in and day out at times without even knowing the depth and the intensity of these particular words. What is morality? What is ethics? What is integrity? Now here is an activity. I think we are sensitized enough. I have a question, and I really do not want you to share your answers. We are not liable to share our answers when we do our own inquiry. This is the self-inquiry. Do you remember any incidents where, or do you remember any incidents when you have behaved immorally? You have behaved unethically. You have behaved with no traces of integrity. Of course, no need to narrate the incidents to others. This is very personal asset. Experiences are always personal assets, and fundamentally, we can never share the experience. Experience sharing is the most fake statement that I ever heard. One cannot share the experience. One share the incidences. So you remember the incidences. Since you were present during the incidences, it becomes your experience. So do you remember any incidents where you have behaved immorally, you have behaved unethically, you have behaved without integrity traces? Once again, I'll wait. Think. Ask questions to self. Right? So if you have taken a mental note, even if you have a glimpse of such incidences, that is good enough for today. No issues. So now do Control C. A quick summary. We started with a story. The very reason for the story is that we wanted to have a third party perspective to these particular aspects. Now from third party, from the third person, I have brought you to the first person. We talked about Birbal's behavior. Now we are talking about our behavior. So these two incidences we went through. Now, let us keep that in our memory and now come to the foundational fundamental area of the discussion today. We say independent India. Let us do collective inquiry. Be alert. When we proclaim that a nation is independent, what does that really mean? Think. I don't expect answers to be shared openly, but you must ask these questions yourself. What does this really mean? What is a nation? A flag, a demography, a picture from the satellite, an anthem, passport? What is nation? What does independence mean? If we are celebrating 75th year of independent India, fundamentally, we should be utter clear about the meaning of independence. Otherwise, there is a question of we celebrating it. It will be simple ritual without knowing the purpose. And that too, that will happen on one of the days in a year. What does independence mean? My question is, does independent mean that we are not at all dependent on anyone? Independent, not dependent on anyone. If this is the meaning, then today, right now, we are dependent on the technology. Zoom, the application which is not got developed in our country. We are dependent on some other country there. The technology, the network, the bandwidth. So does independent India mean that we are not dependent on anything? Every walk of life, you just breathe and you will understand what is dependence. Full of dependence. 100% we are dependent. So if you are dependent 100% of our life on something, then how can we say we are independent? That is first question. Or when we say independence, do we really mean this independence means sovereignty, or independence means self-governance? Independence means self-reliance. Independence means self-managed behavior. What does this particular noun, independence, or what does this particular adjective, independent, tells me? It tells me the expectations of my behavior. Does it expect me to be indifferent and independent with the society, with the community, with the nature, with the ecology? Or does it expects me to be self-governed, self-relied, self-managed? Now you decide whatever you wish to. I definitely go with the second call. When I say independent, I know that 100% I am dependent. Even if I have decided to take the birth, I wanted the instrument of my mother to give me the birth biologically. Where is the question of independence? Right from birth, I am not independent. Till the death, I would need somebody to decompose my body. Where is the question of independence? We are not at all independent if we go with this particular word. When we say independent, it expresses that we need to be governed by self. We are relied on self. We are managed self, self-managed. Now question comes in. If we say nation is independent, can nation be independent or self-managed unless the citizens there are so? Good enough? Now, this is generally known as a foundational theme of this particular expression. These are my expressions. These are the questions. Each slide had questions. As of now, I have asked you 11 questions. Let's go forward. Independence is not a state. Independence is not an action. If it is a state, we will lose it for sure. If it is an action, it will come to end for sure. It is the continuum of mindset. It's a mindset of self-governance. It's a mindset of self-management. Then where is the question of corruption? Corruption is an absence of self-management. So we simply cannot eliminate corruption. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Corruption or not corruption is an outcome. And fundamentally, we really do not have a slightest control on outcome. Whatever control that we have, it will have on a mindset, the thoughts and feelings, and therefore the actions. So if at all we have to do something, we'll have to go back to the foundational fundamental mindset. Mindset is a subtle thing. So now let me have a question. I had asked you one question, that did you behave unethically? Did you behave immorally? Or did you behave with no traces of integrity? Or do you remember any incidents? I'm sure you must have remembered at least one incident. And if you have not remembered one thing, declare that you are dead. Or you are self-realized. And this is a gathering of common man, a foundational characteristics of a common man, that common man doesn't pretend. And if someone pretends and someone denies the fact that in whole of my life, I have never behaved immorally, I have never behaved illogically, I think it's a big bluff. That is the foundational clarity of corruption. So we have behaved immorally, we have behaved unethically, we have behaved with no traces of integrity in our life, maybe once, maybe 10 times, maybe every day. We don't know. I wanted one incident. No, whenever you have remembered that incident, don't you feel there was always some person? We might have behaved unethically, immorally with spouse, with friend, with client, with housemate, with boss, with neighbor, with beggar, with a cat, with a dog, with any other animal, with anyone, anything, unknown, known. Example, I did not deliver the service to the client as per the quality. Fine, this is fantastic example of unethical behavior. Fantastic. I cheated my partner. It could be life partner, it could be fiancé, it could be business partner, and I got into other relationship. I did not offer food to a hungry dog or a hungry beggar just because it meant an additional work for me. It demanded me to stop the work at hand. And I did not do it. And the beggar went hungry. The dog went hungry. I took a doubt on housemaid when I could not find any money on the desk. I had kept some money on my desk in the morning, and in the afternoon, when I didn't see the money on the desk, I took a doubt on my housemaid. Isn't it an immoral behavior? Isn't it unethical behavior? Now the question is, even to identify the behaviors of immorality, behavior of unethics, we thought about somebody else. There always exists another person with whom we check our behavior with morality, ethics, integrity. Even our behavior, we cannot check unless we check it with somebody else. This is the corruption. Even to define these words, we need presence of somebody else. Even to get the feel of these words, we remember behavior with someone else. Now the question to all of you. Can this really be called as independence? My behavior, I need to check in the context of somebody. That means my behavior is seen from somebody else's perspective, or I am seeing my behavior from the perspective of somebody else. Where is the question of independence? Even to retrospect, even to remember the experiences, we need somebody else's eyes. Can we call this self-reliance? These are the questions. Look at that. Even on this particular slide, I have a question. Now think, how many of us remember the incidents or incidences where we have behaved immorally, unethically with our own self? A point blank questions to all the people who are there in this particular meeting. We consider so many people. We consider spouse, partners, kids, the dog and cats and animals and friends. Did we consider myself in this entire experience? This is a corruption. We don't even accept our existence, and we end up talking about country is corrupted. We end up talking about country is independent. Where does country exist? We ourselves don't remember ourselves in such kind of important decision, important discussions. We are talking about morality. We are talking about ethics. We are talking about self-reliance. We are talking about integrity. And when I asked you a question, either you don't think, that is another laziness, or when we think, we don't remember ourselves. And we celebrate 75th year of independence. Don't take it seriously. Take it sincerely. How many of us remember the incidences? I remembered few. When I look back, I say, look, I did not believe in myself. How many times I must have said in my life that I don't think I am able to do it. The very existence I challenged. Boss, you are living there in all sorts of areas, in all sorts of environment, and you say it's not possible? Is it not possible, or do you don't want to make it possible? We have abilities, and we say, I didn't believe in myself. How come? I was not alert. Come on. Isn't it corruption? I've been given instruments to become alert, but I took me for granted. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. I procrastinated the work. Isn't it immoral behavior? Isn't it unethical behavior with self? I compromise my focus on my work. Forget about others. I'm not worried about what is the population of this particular country. I'm worried about one fellow who lives in this particular country. And if this person cannot think about my own behavior, self-behavior, entire gang, so many crores every time we hear in the speeches. So it's a collective establishment, and collective establishment is an outcome. Collective establishment is an integrated limit tending to infinity. I compromised the focus on work. I did not give dedicated time to myself. No, I'm very busy. I cannot sit 20 minutes silent every day. I cannot get up at the time when I wish to get up because I was busy yesterday. This is the most demonstrated statement that even today I am a slave and still I am celebrating 75th year of independence. we are remembering that somebody celebrated the instance of incidents, that we were given a piece of paper that henceforth you will rule your own country. Who will rule? What is country? Who will stay there? What is their mentality? If I am not able to give dedicated time to myself, how come? I left the efforts halfway through. I did not persist. Isn't it corruption? I underestimated myself and my capabilities. I did settle for less than excellent performance. I could have done much better here. I knew I didn't do it. And I knew that I could have done it. I actually slept 1 hour extra that time. I should have got up that time and I would have practiced that last sprint and I would have come into that. But I think I compromised for less than self-perform. I did not take the ownership of my work and its efforts. I did not retrospect and did not draft lessons learned. Now, these are the incidences where I really, really do not need the presence of anybody else. That is independence. So independence is a mindset. Actions are always dependent. It needs overall ecology there. I cannot perform on my own everywhere. I need so much of an contributory aspects of other people. But how did I behave? How did I think with myself? So these are some of the examples where we can say that, look, hold on. I might have done a lot of things immorally, unethically, non-integratedly outside. What about inside? And whatever is outside is the foundational replications of inside. So why not change inside rather than taking actions on outside? So this is the thought process today. And now we'll come to the conclusion. Here needs intense self-inquiry. If I don't believe in myself, am I independent? If I am not alert, can I remain independent? If I don't learn, is there any use of independence? If I settle for less than excellence, am I not a slave for convenience? I am driven by convenience. If I don't take ownership of my work, am I not irresponsible? Should I then have a moral right to be independent? Because you don't even take the accountability of your work. Why you should be independent? Be a slave. So in my opinion, independence to me, it may be totally wrong, but this is how I have been nurtured, fostered since childhood. Entire credit goes to my grandfather, father. You always used to say that, look, whenever you will read anything, if you really, really want to enjoy that, you must implement it. So I have never read much. I am literate, but I have never read much. Even today, I can count how many books I have read. Definitely not more than 25. I can openly tell you in this particular forum, but I can guarantee one thing, that whatever I have read, at least 10% entire credit goes to grandfather, because he always used to say that if you learn new word, you must make use of it. You don't tell me that you have by-hearted 10,000 English words. What's the use of it? You have become the slave of your memory, and memory can teach you. Have you made use of those words? You learn mathematics. Have you made use of it? You learn engineering. Have you made use of it? You learn project management. Do you do schedules for your own work? Do you do budget for your own work? No, that is hardly for 25 lakhs. But 25 lakhs hardly. Even if it's for 200 rupees, you must do the schedule. So in my opinion, independence is my opinion. Na? I don't want you to share my opinion. If you like it, you take it forward. It is vigilant, ethical, moral, integrated actions, including thoughts and feelings, leading to peace and excellence, which are the two ingredients of happiness. So if someone is independent, don't you feel in his behavior, there will be happiness? That person will totally drive continuously towards excellence with peace in mind. And to be peaceful while excelling the work, I must be vigilant. I must, now again, we have not yet defined what is ethical, moral, and integrated. I'll give you some questions down the line and I'll close my sessions. Vigilant, ethical, moral, integrated actions, including thoughts, feelings, leading to peace and excellence, means independence of self-reliance. I need to ask, am I vigilant? Am I ethical? Am I moral? Am I integrated to my thoughts, feelings, and actions? Those are leading to peace and excellence. If I'm not vigilant, I will not understand which actions to take. If I'm not ethical, I will take wrong actions. If I'm not moral, I will justify my actions. And if I'm not integrated, even after these experiences, I'll say that I have not learned. And the fate is demographically independent, emotionally, intellectually, absolutely slaves. Sometimes my words will be blatant, but that's a fact. Now let us think one aspect. Let us take the oath. Now, this oath will not have any word like corruption. This oath will never have any word like what I will do for others. Forget it. You first do something let us do something for self. So this oath will always remind us about what is that I have and what is that I do. So I will say it loudly. If you wish, you can follow. I have the ability to take the complete accountability of my work done in past, being done in present, and would be done in future, and their consequences. So this is probably, I call this, thus I am integrated to my abilities. I will never deny these abilities. I trust these abilities. I have the ability to take complete accountability of work and consequences. I have the ability to take the tasks to completion, irrespective whether surrounding supports or obstructs. I am capable of nurturing, fostering, maintaining the well-being of things, the people, the relations, the principles, the processes, and the tools. First, let us start with this belief that I have the abilities, I am capable of. Then comes the question. If you have the abilities and if you are capable of, are you performing with parity with something that you just proclaimed? I have the ability to find solutions and problems and difficulties. I have the ability to find solutions for problems, difficulties that I face. I have the ability to eradicate the limitations. And finally, I have the ability to be honest with my mission, my vision, my tasks, without falling into the trap of truths and lies. The truth and the lie are the two words coined by the people who actually want to get involved in corruption. Because truth always has its own side. Lie always has its own side. How come there is no question of truth, there is no question of lie. Only question remains, am I honest with my mission? Am I honest with my vision? Am I honest with my tasks? Then the question comes in, is your mission contributory? That's a different question altogether. Is your vision contributory? That's a different question altogether. But even then, there is no confusion. Whatever mission, whatever vision, whatever task, one question, is it leading to peace? Is it leading to excellence? Peace without excellence is hypocrisy. Excellence without peace is destruction. I shall make use of these competencies. So I really do not have to worry about corruption. If I believe these competencies, and if I make use of these competencies, I don't think I'll have to think about this particular word, because thinking of any word, thinking of any action also is an energy, and energy multifolds. Now, last part, and then I'll close. I have been taught, I'm an engineer by education. After the grooming that took place in the home, fortunately, all my professors were like this. My bosses also were amazing people. They always used to say that, don't promise if you are not able to measure. I will behave neatly. The hopeless statement that I am ever hearing. What do you mean by behave? Which behavior? Neatly. What's the definition of neatly? We all will behave with integrity. What's the meaning of integrity? We could not even define that. Where is the question of measurement? Will you be able to? No. Then write the actions which you are able to measure, because measurement drives performance. Oath is not the action. Oath is neither the performance. Oath keeps me motivated to take the actions towards something that I'm aiming at. And if I'm calling myself independent, I think the first thing that I should aim at is peace. And of course, now that I have my own controls on the behavior, I must excel. An independent person will always drive towards peace and excellence. If I am not independent. It's as simple as that. Now let us go for Vemi index. If you wish, later I'll send across a detailed list. I will ask 25 questions, 5 seconds a question maximum. However, to measure that, now this is the reverse swing scale that I have developed in 2005. I use it while measuring competencies, abilities of people. Quickly, I'm going to ask you some questions. If you feel that it happens very naturally, then score 4. If you feel that it happens only when you are alert, score 3. If you feel, hey, I know I'm not aware about this thing, then mark 2. And if you feel that it doesn't happen or it happens very rarely, then mark 1. So 4 is a very natural behavior. 3 is a behavior that needs alertness. 2 is unknown behavior. And 1 is behavior that doesn't take place. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Is it okay? Now let's start with the question. First question, and now I don't need answers, or if you wish, you can quickly take a pen and paper and make a note. Right? Question 1. Do I restate, clarify the work thoroughly before embarking on? A couple of people, or some of you might say that you were invited to talk about independent India 75 years. I'm not worried about it, honestly. Independence of a country is equal to independent mindset of a person residing there. And hence, we are measuring it. Do I restate, clarify the work thoroughly? Once again, I'll just quickly revise. Other remaining 24 questions I will not revise. If you feel that it happens as a body memory, if you feel that it happens anywhere throughout 24/7, let it be any work. I do it. Then 4. If you do it when you are alert, when you are not alert, you don't do it, then 3. You don't know that I should be working, behaving like this, then say 2, be honest. And no, very rarely this happens, then say 1. So first question, do I restate or do I clarify the work thoroughly before embarking on it? You please connect it to morality, integrity, vigilant and all. To be vigilant, I need to know what is to be vigilant of. Right? Do I work enthusiastically? Do I anticipate the positive and negative impacts and the consequences of both on the work in hand? 4, 3, 2, 1. Do I accept the responsibility of the work and the impacts and the consequences of the work? Every time. 4. When I am alert, I do. 3. I don't know this, that it should be behaving like this. 2. 1. Do I define the completion criteria, definition of done for the task that I work upon? Do I anticipate both helping and obstructing incidences that might happen during the work? Do I keep myself ready for the constrained environment impacting the work? Do I capitalize on the opportunities that help the completion of work? Do I identify and acknowledge all the inputs and contributions in terms of tools, infrastructure, people, principles, processes? Do I take the actions necessary to maintain the enthusiasm and harmony in the relationship? Do I follow the processes with intrinsic willingness and not out of fear of audits? Do I work on process improvement whenever necessary. Now, these are 12 questions. Next slide, another 13 questions. It will take another 2.5 minutes. You calculate your index. Do I define problem clearly? Do I keep myself emotionally unattached while defining the problem? Do I define what is not the problem while defining the problem? Do I share the problem with partner? Do I share the problem with the team openly without taking any sides? Do I find and seek the help from the resources, experts, openly to get the problem resolved? Do I define, do I visualize the situation once the problem is resolved before identifying the solution? Do I anticipate the problem-free situation there once I resolve the problem? Do I keep possibly necessary trade-offs ready without hampering the mission? Do I know exactly what I can trade off if time comes, but without hampering the mission? Do I have the mission for myself, first of all? Do I identify the motivating factor in the mission of self or that of the organization? Last 4 questions. Mark 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, it's a humble request. Do I identify differences and similarities between my mission and that of organization which it work with? Do I craft vision for self? Do I see myself 1 year down the line, 5 months down the line, 2 months down the line, 10 years down the line? Because only independent people can have visions. Those people who don't have visions, I don't think they are independent. As simple as that. Slaves cannot have visions for sure. Unless a slave wants to become free, then and then only he will start having visions. Do I use mission statement to come out of the dilemma? Because we are human beings. We'll always be caught into some dilemmas. But the dilemma, do I solve this dilemma in the context of mission? And finally, do I measure the progress in the context of the vision statement? Right? So I'm sure all those people who are fundamentally free and independent must have done the analysis. Those people who are in the mirage of freedom and a marsh of laziness probably might not have done this. So now, if you have calculated the mission, calculated the VMI index, then you will have your own score. So do the total of it. So if your maximum score is 60, the total score is 60, divide it by 100. Why 60? Sometimes 4, sometimes 3, 2, 1, right? If you all have all 1, don't hesitate. That's the beginning of non-corrupted behavior. That I know exactly what am I doing. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Score 25. 25 divided by 100. VMI index, independency index is 0.25. I am 25% independent. Do that. Right? So next time, when we celebrate, when we remember the contributions of our ancestors, also communicate how much I am independent. So today, we tried to jointly evolve, right? So we jointly evolve the implications of the words independence, morality, ethics, self-reliance, integrity. We try to measure it and we try to bring it in our behavior. Then and then only there is a meaning of independence. Otherwise, we are all slaves celebrating independence. Some people will come on the dais, some people will speak. You will hear speeches from Delhi, we will hear speeches from Bombay. Slaves speaking, slaves listening, period. We jointly determined the quantitative measure or an index for each one of us on that concept. So how much are you independent? I can say, look, I am 0.66 independent. And we enjoyed the introspection that would help in our day-to-day life while celebrating 75th incidence. I know exactly which word I'm using here, right? So from verbal story of a behavior, now probably you can go back and check, did Birbal behave ethically? Did Birbal behave integrated manner? And did Birbal behave morally? To that story, my answer is outrightly yes. Because in that context, Birbal has a score of 100 over 100. No doubt about it. He took the consequences into mind and he was ready to bear the consequences. Even then, he supported that slave because life was necessary, life was important, peace and excellence. So with this, I rest my opinions. Thank you so much for giving me a patient ear. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Dhananjay sir. And I believe it has been a very self-introspecting kind of a session, a thought-provoking session. And in case we have any queries, questions, feedback, suggestions, participants are requested to use the chat forum, or you can also unmute our mics in case if they want to directly have a interaction with the faculty.
Good morning, DG. Srinivas here.
Morning.
It is wonderful session. Shaken up again from top to bottom.
Employees, because this is
Perfect.
going to be a journey for all of us to kind of self introspect, go through the inputs and see whether we are really independent in
Right. I will
process.
send, rather than PPT, I'll send a complete Word document PDF form. So you will get all the questions one by one by one by one by one.
We actually would be looking forward for many more sessions with you, sir, the Atharva sheet, where our many of our employees have been a part of your session. So in the coming days, we'll see how we can, CNBC would take this initiative to ensure that our employees get all the inputs and you will be able to reach out to our employees. Yeah.
Actually, I have a question. Is integrity related to some specific concept like integrity to our organization, our seniors, integrity to self? So, is it a related concept, and how to judge whether we are correct in our approach?
Okay. What I feel is integrity is absolute concept, no doubt about it. It cannot be relative, because if it is relative, moment we say it is relative, we are giving a pathway to corruption. Like a law always leads to interpretation. No book of law says that this law is absolute, says that to the interpretations. And that's precisely the problem. So integrity is absolute term. Now integrity, fundamentally, I need not check with anybody else. As simple as that. Because those will be measures in the contextual behavior. And I in a sense, every individual behave in 360 degree. I cannot pretend for long in organization, in my home, in my family, in my partners. I can't pretend. One or the other day, depending upon my wiseness or dumbness, I will definitely get exposed for sure. If I am pretending something that I am not. So if I am pretending that I am integrated to the organization, but I am not integrated with the friends and I am not showing the integrity with my kids and my other business and so on and so forth. No. So my opinion is there is only one area that we should measure the integrity, that is integrity with the self. If I'm integrated with self, I think I'll be integrated with everything else. I really do not have to worry about it. And in fact, like you said, madam, that's the reason I don't understand many abstract concepts. My intellect is very low. IQ is also low. I want to see, boss, show me. Otherwise, I don't understand. Don't tell me electrons and all. Even today, out of societal pressure, I believe that there are electrons. Fine. But then, if you give me the measures, good, I'll perform. So those 25 questions, you measure it, and I think you will get the answer. What am I saying? Okay. Right? And the auditor here, fortunately, is not outsider.
So one should listen to our inner voice. That's
absolutely. And inner voice actually speaks very softly. In organization, we can't run away from the auditors. They will hit us hard on major NCs and minor NCs and all. But inner voice, even there is a major NC, say that, hey, Dhananjay, that's all.
It's very subtle type of thing. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Sir, we are here working in the organization. We are integrated to the organization. We are working hard. All these things are there. But I would like to ask one question to you. The integrated to the organization there, but when some boss comes and he says that you show integrated to me, then if I speak to some other department or he thinks that my integrity is down. So what will you comment on this?
My comment is have a parity in the dictionary meaning for both of you. He has his own meaning about integrity. You have your own meaning of integrity. Fine. But now as a third party, whoever, I feel that a person who says that you only speak with me is not the expectation of integrity. Is the expectation
out of the department, other thing. You be integrated. Whatever you want to speak, you speak through me. That this is happen. So what happens is that now what we have to do. I am just giving an example. I am not saying that this is with me, but this is one example where some bosses are like this.
Okay. So I would say in this particular fashion, if somebody says that speak only through me, and if that is coined as the definition of integrity, I think there is a difference in the meaning that he has. This actually is expectations of slavery under the sophisticated cashier of integrity.
Yes, so that's what I wanted. Is that slavery or it is because we are now into independence India 75 years, and they think that we are the slaves, and in this way the situation goes. So how should we come out of this situation?
However, we have to pay attention to one more thing, that if this is the need to maintain the communication channels, then absolutely. But then if there is a communication channel maintained, that okay, who will speak with whom, there's a very clearly communication channel draft, and it is communication plan is made categorically on the strategic work, communication plan, this specific work, operational work, tactical work, confidential information, non-confidential information, to be promoted information, to be left for the promotion information. So there are various cache of the communication. For every communication, there is a plan for communication. It is very categorically told that no one except these two. So we define SPOCs, single point of communication. In that case, come what may, I will have to follow. So there is no question of integrity and all this matter to begin with. That's the reason there is one question. Do I follow the process with intrinsic willingness? What is the process here? That any communication should go through this particular SPOC, single point of contact, and this person will communicate the SPOC with who's ever there. If this is the process accepted, identified, and appreciated, then I don't think I should go beyond it. Now, if you feel that this process has to be improved, then I'll have to communicate. However, not having such process, if somebody is pushing hard, speak with me only, then I think it is the beginning of tyranny.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Call me DG, Dhananjay, don't call me sir.
So if there are not any questions, so can we close the session, sir?
Yes, perfect.
So thank you very much, sir. You've actually helped us redefining the word independence, which is mentioned that is basically a mindset of self-governance and self-management. And it is like how dominant is our inner voice is actually will influence our actions is what is the takeaway. And also you mentioned the real meaning of independence where you mentioned that it is a vigilant, ethical, moral, integrated actions, which actually leads us to peace, excellence, and which will derive our happiness quotient, if I can say. And so it leaves us, the session will leave us with a thought that if I follow this, whether do I follow all the measures of the independence, and am I really independent in true self? And this is how I contribute to my country and my nation. And we really like the oath which you mentioned. It was like the to-do kind of thing, the to-do list as to whether we follow such parameters. And the most takeaway part of the session was the index, is the independent index. Whether when I say that I'm independent, I need to understand in which category do I follow or fall into out of the 25 parameters you mentioned. So it actually helped us building our knowledge about independence and in which category or which flow am I going towards to. So it was an alarming thing. I'm sure this is going to be a very good takeaway for all our employees, a very good thought-provoking session. And thank you very much for making this session very interesting, very knowledgeable, and very much thought-provoking. So on behalf of RCF, our vigilance team and CMDC, we would like to thank you for this very short interaction, and we would look forward for association with you in the future as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank